Hi, I'm Chad. You're watching Squarebody Stuff. What's going on, everybody? I'm back in the shop. Obviously, it's kind of where I do this YouTube thing mostly, is in the shop. And yeah, I've been out here for a few hours this morning. It's been nice, but now it's starting to rain. Just as soon as I turn the camera on, it starts to rain. So we may have to put up a little bit of rain noise on my tin roof, but what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how I check my valve spring pressure. Got pretty simple setup. There's other ways to do it, and I'll kind of explain a few ways you could do it, and hopefully be fairly accurate, and why we check valve spring pressure. And I'm not going to go real deep into like setting up valve springs and stuff on the cylinder heads. I'm going to kind of put that in another video. But we're just going to show you what I use to test valve spring pressure. What I'm working on is the cylinder heads, which these are just some cheap Speedmaster. I think they're 190cc as cast heads. I think 60cc chambers and 202 160 valves. They are going on that guy right there, which is my 339 small block Chevy stroker, 305 block, 383 or 400 crank, the 375 stroke crank, and it's going to be going in that. But for right now, I'm going to show you my setup on checking valve springs. And actually, it's kind of a new setup to me. I just picked up this Arbor press. It's a 1 ton, 2,000 pound Arbor press just from Harbor Freight. It's about $70. I've had this for a while, and I always used to use it in my vise, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that. You gotta hold this in there. I never made a holder for it or anything, and it can be kind of cumbersome. Obviously, there are way better options that cost a lot more money. I'm not sure what I paid for this gauge. I'll look it up and maybe put it down at the bottom here somewhere. They're not super expensive, because if it was, I wouldn't have it, because I'm kind of a cheap guy. But I do like to have tools that give me an idea of what I got going on. They may not be the best, sometimes may not be as accurate. I don't know. I don't have a way to test to make sure that that's as accurate as a really expensive one, but it's consistent. That's one of my main goals, is consistency. I could check all these springs, make sure they're all within the same spring pressure. Now, these springs I bought from Pal Cams off of eBay. They've got an eBay website, but this is the specs for these valve springs. This is an actual kit I got, kind of a retrofit beehive spring kit for small block Chevy heads. It comes with the retainers, clips, and all that stuff. So the specs for these springs are 85 pounds at 1/800 lift or 1/800 height, and 300 pounds at 240 height, and the coil bind is at 195. Now, you got to make sure that your springs will work with your camshaft. I've done the math and everything. My max lift on the exhaust side is 540, 536, somewhere around there. So all the math works out good to where these will work really good with my camshaft. I'm going to be testing these springs to make sure they're within the specs, or at least all the same. I don't have one that's a little wonky or something. But another reason why you might want to check spring pressure is, say you get a set of used heads, or you get a set of valve springs that you don't know the pressure. Well, you can test the pressure, see if it's going to work well with your camshaft and your application. Another good reason why you need to check valve spring pressure, if you've been running an engine all season, or you've got a used engine and you want to check your valve spring pressure, I'm going to have all of this documented. So if I ever tear these heads back off here, tear the engine down, I could go back and check these springs later on to see if they're losing tension or if I've got a bad one, something like that. So that's another reason why you might want to invest in these tools if you're doing this kind of stuff, so you can keep your valve springs, your valve train happy. And you'll need some way to measure your height whenever you're collapsing the spring. I like to use this and set up for the closed or on the seat, which will be the longer measurement. I could just set this in there, do that, set it down, clamp it, set a stop, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But for the open pressure or the short pressure, this doesn't go short enough for the 1-240, so I use a snap gauge. It's real simple. Set it with my calipers. You can set it with micrometers. Well, right now my micrometers and a lot of my measuring tools are loaned out at the moment, helping somebody out so they can build their engine. But I'll set it up on the short side with this, and let's get over there and show you how I do it. Now, since I just got this, I don't have this set up exactly the way I want it. I do want to make some sort of a stop that's a little easier to deal with than a pair of vice grips, but for right now I'm just going to use vice grips to set my stop. But what I'll do is I'll set my micrometer to what I want, which would be 1/800. I'll set it in there, just let it come down and rest on it. Up here at the top, set my vice grips. Good to go there. So now I've got repeatability. So now we just make sure everything's centered up best we can. Your spring's kind of centered on your anvil. And you slowly bring it down until you hit your stop at the top. Now if you don't have a stop, or if you have a different way to do this, you're going to have to manually measure here, and that's what I used to have to do in my vise. It was a real pain in the butt because I'd clamp it down, I'd have to measure all that stuff. This is really repeatable. It's really nice. Again, not the best setup. There are really expensive spring pressure machines or gauges you can get, but way out of my price range, and probably, you know, I'm not building engines for a living, so this setup makes it real repeatable. And to set up for the short measurement, I will use my calipers and set my snap gauge, which I've already got it set, for the distance I want. I'll bring it down and just let the pressure of that set on it. That's not too much pressure where it's going to throw off the reading. This doesn't have to be within like 1 or 2 thousandths. You can be a little bit off. This is alright. Now we can go through and do the same thing. Go through and check spring pressure. And just go through all your springs and make sure they're all the same. So one thing I'd like to add to this, I tried it, trying to find an easier way or different way, but it doesn't work. I've tried to use F-clamps, thinking that they would be sufficient enough, but my readings were kind of not consistent and not as high, because there's just enough give in this clamp that it messes with the accuracy of it. Right now, with this clamp, I'm actually about 5 to 7 pounds lighter at the same measurement as I was with the press. I even tried to use my little drill press, just different things, trying to come up with an easier way to do this than in my vise. But you've got to have something really, really sturdy, especially when you try to go up to the the open spring height. It was really bad. I was only getting, well, I was like 80 pounds less than what it should have been. So yeah, you need to have something really sturdy to be able to check your spring pressures. I think that covers this subject. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section. If you want to get a hold of me, get the social media down there in the description box. Facebook Messenger is about the easiest way to get a hold of me. My email is down there also. Also got a P.O. box now, so if you guys want to send me stuff, just hit that P.O. box. It's down there in the description box. I like Hot Wheels, just saying, or little collectibles. Or if you got stickers, I can put on my new toolbox or on the refrigerator, whatever. There's a P.O. box down there now. Hit it up. I think that's all I've got for you on this subject. I hope you've learned something. So we're going to let you go. So until next time, you'll keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.